It's time to put on your boots as we're chasing speed, slash, and screaming drags.
That's right, Bree. From the beaches to the offshore structure, these silver torpedoes, they are on the move and ready to strike.
We're talking kingfish on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Thanks for joining us on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. And we know it's been a hot one out there, but even more of a reason to be out on the water, catching a few big ones. And what we're catching this week are a bunch of kingfish.
You're absolutely right, Bree. You know, the cool thing about kingfish is we have them on both coasts, East Coast and the West Coast.
Yep.
But what I love is that this time of year, they come in real tight to the beach in the East Coast, and that makes it a lot of fun for all boats in different sizes. So everybody has access to them on those calm days.
Fun for everyone. All right,
That's
and
right.
Rick, you've been a little bit busy, and you paid a visit to IGFA this week as well.
You're absolutely right. You know, I went there and I had the little advanced group of kids. There was about 50 kids, and what I loved about them is how interactive they were. If I would ask them a question, there'd be 10 or 15 hands all at one time. What a great group
Wow.
of kids. I'm
How
really
cool.
proud of them, and those are certainly going to be the next generation of anglers. So it's really important to make
for
sure we
you.
keep pushing the envelope, right?
Oh, cool. That's so fun. All right, well,
Yes.
before we get started, let's say hi to Dave Farrell over at the CCA Workbench. Dave, what we got over there?
Well, we got kingfish stuff. We got wire.
Yes.
Got plenty of wire. A lot of plugs. You know, all the
Perfect.
kingfish things.
Kingfish things.
it.
Yes.
For all them toofuses.
Correct.
All right, well, it's time to fire up the smoker in the StarTron Central West region because Captain Jeff Page is putting us on those kings. Go for it, Page.
All right, good evening, everybody. And you know what? Springtime and fall are our best times for predictable kingfish catches. That's not to say that you can't go out there on these summer days and find a big school of thread fins or bait school holding on a wreck or a reef and catch a few kings. But as far as numbers and being able to go, we're going to go out and catch some today. We like springtime, which can be as early as March. Right in through May, right when the tarpons start showing up, usually the kings thin out, and then again in the fall, and it's all based on when them cold fronts start coming through. It can be late October, even into November, but we're going to have both seasons, and they're both usually pretty good, where it's not uncommon to catch a fish up to 45 pounds. That's usually the size of the fish, 45 to 50, that wins the King of the Beach each year, which is a big tournament out of Madeira Beach, and the guys go hard at them in those big offshore boats like your front runner, Rick. But the neat thing about, you mentioned it, Rick, is certain times of year in March when those fronts have lightened up and it's east wind, those fish will get in less than a mile off the beach. You see birds, you see a mud. A lot of times the muds help us find those springtime kingfish, and it'll be bait schools, sharks, kingfish, all churning that bottom up. And if you work around that thing with some live baits, or you control lipped plugs or spoons on planers, depends on the depth of the water. We can catch them in as shallow as 12, 15 feet, catch them out to 70, 80, 90 feet. It's all about the bait. It's all about, the conditions. But I've noticed one thing. Some of the bigger kingfish, guys catch them in the choppier days, like you all get the sailfish over on that East Coast. On the calm, pretty days, they don't seem to bite so well. An average fish, though, is in that 20 to 30 pound class for the smoker. And don't forget, sometimes when it's too rough in that Gulf, a lot of times they'll come in that Egmont ship channel to the Skyway, and they'll troll for them because that holds mega bait. So my photo tonight is a happy young angler with, I believe it was his first kingfish he ever caught with Captain Brian Marcy of Breakwater Charters.
Good job. All right. Tell me about the permit, Bubba.
Permit remains really good. The hardest part this past week has been dipping the crabs or finding somebody that's selling the crabs. It's been a real slow tide week this week. We'll be on strong tides again next week, but the permits are out on those artificial reefs, anywhere from 1 mile to 3 miles for your smaller boats. And then if you want to go out to 7 or 10, they're on those too. The hardest part has been, like I said, the getting the crabs, and then also keeping the sharks and the Goliaths from eating your permit. And I talked to a couple captains. They just had to pack up and move to another reef because it was so bad. But I want to mention one thing. The anchor lock mode on your trolling motor makes permit fishing so much easier because you can jockey all the way around the reef with your crabs and get them in the right position. And my photo tonight is of Captain Billy Alstrom and his first mate, Jessica Kay, with 2 nice permit they got on a nice calm Gulf of Mexico day.
Sure did.
Awesome.
All right, let's go inshore.
Water temperatures starting out in the morning, Rick, around 90, 88 to 90. So those fish that you normally would catch up in the shallows, they're not even there first thing in the morning, not very often. You can find those trout this year out in that 7 feet, even 9 feet, especially if you can see that mottled bottom. That's what Jeff Hageman calls it, that mottled bottom with that sand and grass, and most important, just like the kingfish, schools of small hatch bait. It can be hatch, fry of pilchards, or thread fins. But the more the bait you see and the birds swooping down, you know you're in trout country. Popping corks work real well with about 3 feet of line, and you put a gulp shrimp under them. And then also the jaywalker. I've been using the smaller size because it's been so calm. So the smaller jaywalker and the chrome or bone have been working really well. And if it does get dirty, a good one is pink or chartreuse. Now, some of the flats that have been good have been the deeper grass flats off Turtle and Bull Bay, and then also in Sarasota Bay around Long Bar, and then up off Rattlesnake Key and Emerson Point. Look for the birds. You're going to find the trout. Our photo tonight is our local Sarasota chapter CCA president, Doug Ford, and his wife, April, with a nice Sarasota trout. And my last species, mangrove snapper, like you showed me down in Flamingo a long time ago, Rick. Mangrove snapper come in the bays and get up on the grass flats every summer. And right now they're in there around all them bait schools. And sometimes you got to move around, but you can get them. And you want to use light leader, like 12-pound fluorocarbon works really well with a small little size 1 or 1/0 circle hook. Or if you're going to use a small jig head, like a 2/0 jig head with a short shank. And that works real well. And my photo tonight is of my wife, Diane Page, with a double snapper bite in the bay a couple years ago. We got both those fish on Gold Spoon.
All right, thank you for the pictures tonight. And starting us off, Captain Page, we're gonna go ahead and look at the daiquiri deck hotspots from the inshore region. He says inshore, speckled trout fishing over the deeper grass flats and 4 to 6 feet out of water, holding lots of fry bait, topwater jaywalkers or popping corks with at least 3 feet a leader between the cork and your hook. Try a gulp shrimp. Offshore, still a lot of permit holding on the near shore artificial reefs and 3 to 7 mile range live pass crabs are your best bait. Free line 1 or to use small split shots or on the other to make sure you cover all the water column. You know, the CCA is still going on, guys. You still have an opportunity to win. You got to get in it to win it. And there's so many variety of different shapes and prizes. There's any fish that you catch, potentially, it could be some type of prize. So just get registered and get
Become
in
a member. Da, da,
Got till
da.
September.
Just do it, guys. All right,
on,
the Central
guys.
East region is no stranger to the Kingy Max these days. So show me all those toothy smiles, Jim. How you doing?
Doing fantastic, Bree and Rick and Dave back there in the background. I tell you what, the 70 to 90 foot reefs in the Central East region have not disappointed over the past week or so. And there's a lot of fish that are actually starting to move to the beach now as well. Most of these fish are getting ready to spawn, but you want to find some natural bottom if you can. Natural sea fans or reef line is where they want to hold. If they come to the beach, if you can find that type of a scenario, like off of Melbourne Beach or down around Vero Beach or up between Canaveral and Ponce up around Playa Linda, you'll find some good areas to catch the king mackerel right now. If you're sitting there and you've pulled around with a frozen sardine or a frozen cigar minnow or a live bait and you haven't gotten a bite in about 10 minutes, kind of keep moving up or down the reef line until you find where the fish are, and then turn around and start schooling on those, start getting on those schools of fish. Most of the fish right now are running 8 to 25 pounds. And I've got a nice picture here of Dawn with one of those kingfish that we had here recently.
Nice.
Cobia are also showing up, so make sure that you have a pitch bait ready. You know, you have a pitch rod, because you never know. These things will just pop up out of nowhere, and it's been kind of interesting because we've had them on rays this week, we've had them on the reefs this week, we've had them on bull and tiger sharks this week. We've even had them free swimming or grouping amongst themselves, almost like in a pre-spawn ritual where you find 5 to 10 fish that are kind of grouped together. And that's exactly what we found. The other day, I was actually slow trolling the buoy line looking for some king mackerel, and we came across a mark about 3/4 of the way down in the water column, and I'm fishing in about 45 feet of water. So, 10, 12 feet off the bottom, I see these 6 or 7 marks together. I'm like, what is that? I hook up my pitch rod real quick, got a jig head on it, put a pokey, pitch it out, boom. We got this nice upper 30-pound class cobia right there in the Canaveral buoy line. So get ready, because they can show up anywhere. And like Rick is showing, a jig head or an Artemis shad swim bait, especially when they're on those backs of those rays, are absolutely fantastic. And that buoy line right now is holding a lot of different kinds of fish, and so is the color change down at the Sebastian Inlet. So make sure you guys and gals check those out. Now, swinging inshore, big speckled trout are coming from either end of my region right now. The flats and spoil islands near Sebastian are holding mullet schools right now, and there's big trout holding underneath those mullet pods. So make sure that you get out there early and use like a 4/0 or 5/0 size hook and a 5 to 7 inch mullet, and you should do really good on the trout. The other place is up in Oak Hill on the north end of the region, Oak Hill to Edgewater, around the Clinker Islands and any of those undercut banks and things up there, holding good sized trout right now. Croakers are working better up there. And a 4,000 size pin battle reel, that new pin battle 4 is a pretty cool reel. You guys need to check it out. It's a great reel for the money. 20-pound test, some 20 to 30-pound leader, and you can get yourself a nice fish like this one that Pat Campbell got, that we've got a picture of here.
Nice.
My last species is snook, and I'll tell you, the beach fishing is getting better by the day, Rick. The snook have been following schools of mullet up and down the surf. From Sebastian to Ponce. The entire region has them right now. Large swim baits that imitate mullet. You can cast them right into the mullet schools, or you can throw a live mullet or live pogie in there, and you'll get thumped pretty quick if there's any kind of snook underneath that particular pod. Lipped diving plugs and top water plugs will also work more so real early in the morning and late in the afternoon, especially with the top waters. But I have seen them coming up and blowing up on the top. Our average snook is running 30 to 38 inches right now. In fact, we had a 38 incher today. And here's a nice picture of one of those beach snook that we recently released.
All right, bud.
Look at you go.
We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine hotspots. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, but we got to keep going. All right, he says inshore. Northern Mosquito Lagoon, the flats for speckled trout. Use live croakers or assassin 4-inch sea shad in silver, mullet, or the northern minnow colors for fish up to 24 inches. And guess what? If you want to go offshore, the king mackerels are themed species tonight. 70 to 90 feet of water on the reefs. Slow troll pogies, frozen cigar minnows on a wire stinger rig. Keep a pitch rod ready in case that cobia shows up. Both sides. What do you think?
Fast thinking from Jim with that cobia, man.
You gotta be
All right,
ready.
You do. Whether you're drifting live bait or trolling, the bite is on. And Dave Farrell has all the kingfish catching rigs and techniques ready for you at the CCA workbench, like literally all of them.
I've got a lot of them, I tell you, and he's one of my
Most of
favorite
them.
ones to catch, so I know a little bit about him.
You like
little bit of
smoking
that.
them too, baby.
We're smoking them. We gotta
Smoking
get
a
that
pancake.
smoke recipe. And then we're seeing what the weekend has in store for you in the Casa Vieja Southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas, who just got out of the pool. So stay hooked.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. ACR. Less search, more rescue. Scientific Anglers. Failure is not an option. Penn. Let the battle begin. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Daiquiri Deck. Food, drinks, friends.
Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and as you can tell, with me is my good buddy Dave Farrell. We've been together for a lot of years, Dave.
Yes, sir.
And Kingfish, I know, is one of your all-time favorites, so let's just roll right into it.
He's the Wahoo's, ugly cousin. Really, he's just not quite as tasty as the Wahoo, but he still has his redeeming qualities. He can get fairly good size.
Right.
He can get he's a tough fighting fish. He makes long runs, and his mouth is kind of a rocky place where your hook can find no purchase sometimes.
Right.
He's a tough character, and he's really good to eat. As far as if you cook him that day, if you don't put him in the freezer and all that mess, if you grill him that night, you catch him, he's going to be good. And if you smoke him and make dip out of him, he's excellent. It's an oily, fleshed fish, and those oily fish smoke well.
Right.
And that's why we like to catch them. That's why he's so popular. Both you can catch them offshore trolling, in the same places you're catching Dorados and sailfish and whatnot. Or this time of year, those great big smoker kings come inshore really close to the beach, 40, 50 feet of water, sometimes even less. We're following those big schools of minhead and the pogies that go run up and down the beach.
Right.
And they just makes them really accessible and really fun. Now we're allowed to keep in the Gulf in Monroe County 24-inch fork length.
Right.
Get 3 per harvester. In the Atlantic, there's 24 fork length and 2 per harvester.
All right, so if we're going to bait fish for them, what rig do we want to use to start off with a medium-sized bait?
Well, we're going to use a wire rig.
Blue runner?
A blue runner, a big pinfish, any fish that you sabiki off the bottom where you're fishing. Like if I'm out on 8A out of Cape Canaveral, I'll drop a sabiki to the bottom, catch a big squirrel fish or something. Anything off the bottom, a big grunt.
Ladyfish?
A ladyfish, anything, and put it on a number 4 wire rig up to a number 7 wire rig. Usually a number 4 will catch most of the kingfish that you hook.
Hook this fish in the nose?
Yeah, you hook him in the nose with the live bait hook, and you hook him back near the tail because kingfish like to take off tails.
Is this Eagle Claw 4X?
That is an
recommend?
Eagle Claw, that laser sharp number 4 there. Yeah.
Okay.
Treble. And, you can adjust this to however big your bait is. You can put 2 on there, 3 on there, up to a ladyfish style like this one, where I've got 3 or 4 hooks on there.
Right.
So it'll just spread out so that when that king mackerel, like all mackerels and wahoos, he's a mackerel as well, they come and they take the tail off a bait. They use their speed and those razor sharp teeth to come just smoking in and whacking the tails off, and then they come around to finish it up. And so a lot of times, when you're trolling, you'll get a big hit, wha-pam, and then there's nothing for a second. The worst thing you can do is reel it in real fast. You let that thing stay out there. Sometimes if you can free spool it immediately, if you get on the rod after it makes that big slam and nothing's there, you just free spool that bait back and it'll flutter down and he'll come back. Either him or one of his buddies will come and get the head, and then you'll have a good hookup.
So what about lure fishing for him, Dave?
Well, I'd love to pull, any kind of plug back there, either a lipped plug or a non-lipped plug, something that'll go 4 to 6 knots. You don't have to go real fast when you're fishing for king mackerels. A wahoo seems to like a faster bait, but you'll hear a lot of people say, well, you don't have to go as fast, and you really don't. I catch most of my kingfish on one of those magic swimmers, going slow, between 4 to 6 knots.
Right.
Pretty close to the boat too. You don't have to get them way, way back there like you have to do for tunas.
Do you fish 2, like 1 medium and 1 short?
I'll usually have 2 naked ballyhoos on wire pin rigs.
Right.
On my outriggers, and all my plugs either in short on a downrigger or just in short in the wash.
On a planer, maybe?
On a planer like these.
Right.
Down on a planer, or just by themselves.
Now, I see a lot of guys off of Miami in the sewer hole.
The drone spoon has never stopped working.
And they just sit there and they jig the spoon like this.
Yeah, the same thing the commercial guys do.
Yeah.
If you go running by a commercial guy, he'll either have that drone spoon on or a big beam bucktail jig like this white bucktail jig.
Yeah.
And what they'll do is they'll give it a little shot every once in a while and try to make it dance.
Now, on your spinning reel, I love catching them on spinning reels. What size do you like?
Well, that's a big one. I would probably prefer a 6,000, but that's an 8,000. That'll catch every kingfish swimming, even a giant. I put monofilament. I like to use monofilament, like that Prospect mono.
Yeah.
I'm not a braid troller. I like to troll with mono because it has a little bit more give. And when you gaff those fish, please gaff them in the head. Don't
That's
gaff
right.
them in the middle or the back of the tail.
And right to the cooler.
Yeah.
Good job,
Because
Mr. Dave. What do you think?
Their
seemed to go
mouth is
fast.
a rocky place where your hook has no purchase. I like that, Dave. I'm never going to forget that one. All right, let's troll on into the Casa Vieja Lodge Southeast region and break out the live bait with Captain Jimbo Thomas. King me, Captain.
Hey, Bree, Rick, and Dave. And congratulations to everybody that's listening to the show because you survived lobster mini season. So in the Southeast region, we catch kingfish throughout the year. And one of the best times and my favorite is around the full moons of March, April, and May. So we're a little past that. And that's when we catch the most and the largest kings. Now, I like to live bait, but trolling also works. Those are your two most popular ways to target a kingfish. And on the live bait side, pilchards, herrings, sardines, goggle eyes are favorites. You want to fish them under the kite or on the drift. And if there's no live bait available, you can troll drone spoons. I like to use a 3.5 drone spoon or a sea witch and a bonito combo, bonito strip combo. Pink sea witch seems to be one of the most popular, but some days a white or blue one will outfish the pink ones, but pink is a very popular one. You want to fish that sea witch or your spoon behind a wireline outfit or behind a planer because you want to get that bait down deep. And then some days the trolling will outfish the live baits. Now, standard depths are anywhere from 80 to 160 feet of water, and you definitely want a piece of wire so you don't get a cutoff. And on both the live baits and on the troll. Now, the average size king's anywhere from 4 to 20 pounds, and there are some much larger ones mixed in. And in the past week, the kings that we've been catching have been down deep on the planers in 100 to 150 feet of water. And the pink sea witch the last couple of days, for me at least, has been working the best. Now, I got a photo here. This is Caleb Cabrera with the big kingfish that they caught aboard the charter boat Cutting Edge off Key Biscayne.
Nice.
Yeah, that is a nice one. Now, offshore-wise, the nighttime snapper bite is still going on strong. There's still plenty of mangroves in the 2 to 5 pound range mixed in with yellowtails and mutts. And any good reef bottom in 40 to 80 feet of water has been holding the fish. You want to fish a knocker rig with just enough weight to hold bottom and a 1/0 to 3/0 hook. 30 to 40 pound mono or fluoro leaders are going to work. If they're a little finicky, you can go a little lighter. Best baits have been cut bonito and sardines or live pilchards and goggle eyes. And if you're out there at night and you got some lights on, more often than not, you're going to have some bait come up in the lights, pilchards and goggle eyes. You can catch them on an R&R sabiki, put those back down for bait. Most of the larger fish have been eating these fresh live baits. Now, moving inshore, the bone fishing on the flats at Biscayne Bay has been really good still, just like the last couple weeks. First thing in the morning before the water gets too hot on top of those flats. You want to look for tailing bonefish on the inside and outside flats from Soldier Ski south to Angelfish Creek on the outgoing tide. And then after the water warms, look for those fish on the deeper edges where it's a little cooler, and look for those fish over the light-colored bottom. And then late in the afternoon, when the water begins to cool back down, you're coming back on top of the flats. Best baits have been small crabs and crab pattern flies. Got another photo here. This is Chris Bernarde with a fly-caught bonefish off the Radby Keys in South Biscayne Bay.
Nice
That's a
job.
great picture, too.
Nice job, Chris. All right,
And
one
then
more to go.
The snook fishing has been good throughout the region. Fish are schooled up in the inlets. They're also being caught around the piers and jetties and also off the beaches and the lit bridges and docks of the ICW. Like pilchards, herrings, and mullet have been the best baits, but any other good bait has been getting bites. They're also being caught on jigs and soft plastics. In the inlets, they've been biting the live baits drifted near the bottom on any tide. And when the water's been murky, they've been biting throughout the day. Water's been clear. The mornings and evenings have been best. Then around the bridges and the piers, Alcoin Tide in the evenings is when these snook are going to bite the best. Got another photo here. This is Court Vernon and Ruby with the snook caught in Palm Beach Inlet.
All right. Thank you so much, Bud. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the ACR hotspots from the southeast region. Jimbo says inshore guys target snook in the inlets and around the mouths of the spillway canals with both live and artificial baits to catch and release snook. And then offshore, anchor up in the outside reefs in 40 to 80 feet of water for mangrove and mutton snappers, fishing live and cut baits on the bottom.
Sounded like Jimbo barely survived when you see it to me. All right, well, Rick, like you mentioned, kingfish can be caught just about anywhere in the coastal waters of Florida this time of year. But did you know that catching a legal minimum size kingfish could land you a new Yamaha motor? Say what? That's right. In the CCA Florida Star competition presented by Yamaha, the Ingo Cooler Offshore Division presented by AFCO offers as first place a 250 Yamaha motor. And you know what? It's not for the biggest fish. Just enter any legal minimum size kingfish and you have a shot at winning. But remember that any fish caught anywhere in Florida can earn anglers a shot at winning their share of $500,000 in prizes and scholarships. New boat, motor, and trailer packages from Carolina Skiff, Seabourn Spider, and Microdraft Skiff are up for grabs, but you have to be registered and a CCA member before you catch the fish. The Star competition ends September 1st, so get registered today at CCAFLStar.com. You really have nothing to lose except, well, the Yamaha motor.
Exactly.
And some other things. All right, the Northeast region is the place you want to be if you want to be amongst the kings. Plus, we're saying hi to our friend from Alta Equipment, and then we're having a Bass and Lake O to Kings on the Beach kind of weekend in the Alta Equipment East region with Captain Mike Holliday. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, Your Fish, Our Science, Bajio, Blue Light Blocking, Radically Clear Polarized Fishing Sunglasses, Guy Harvey, every purchase helps support the health of our oceans and marine life. Penn, let the battle begin. Kubota, together we do more. And Heroes on the Water, paddle, fish, heal.
Well, as you can see, is joining me is Saint from Alta Equipment Company. You know, Saint, I want to really thank you and Alta for all the restoration that we're doing in the Everglades. You guys are certainly with the Phillips Company. You're keeping those guys running. You're doing the service. You have a lot of leased big, heavy equipment over there. So on behalf of all the fishermen, I certainly want to thank you for your participation in all of that. But more importantly, we're talking about the compact corner. So tell me about the different products and brands that you sell.
Yeah, okay, so thank you for that introduction, and thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
The compact division within Alta, we carry 6 different brands. This is one of the brands right here that's in your corner is the Avant utility loader. We also have a leg one aerial lift. There's 3 different size lifts that match up with that. Takeuchi, Avant, Toro, Volvo Construction Products, and as well as we also just started representing the Bandit Chipper and Stump Grinder brand in South Florida.
All right, that sounds great. So let me talk to you a little bit about the different locations that we have.
We have 6 locations across Florida, actually 7, and we have one more coming online in 60 days in Fort Pierce, wrapping up the state of Florida.
All right, so what about the service and the service bays? Tell me some of that stuff, Saint.
Across all the locations, 65 service bays supporting our products and our customers. It's about 250,000 square foot of space. We have a parts annex in addition to our locations. It's 15,000 square feet. We house in the neighborhood of a $1.5 million worth of invested in parts.
Wow.
25,000 individual line items.
So
Parts.
certainly service is a huge part of y'all's business model. What about, guys, if there's a technician watching? You guys looking to hire anybody?
We're always looking to hire good people. That's an ongoing process. We're always looking for good people. So And we do have one open position we're looking for in Orlando right now for sales.
All right. So I got one other little thing I want to ask. Where do we go to find out more information? We go to alta.com, correct?
Go to our website, altg.com.
Now, this week is Kingfish, and we kind of did a little digging through your help. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this kingfish that you caught over 35 years ago?
Look at that guy. That's a good-looking guy.
43-pounder? How big?
43-pound, yep, 1990.
Where'd you catch him at?
I'm a Pensacola native, grew up in the Panhandle. I caught him in Pensacola with my brother and 2 friends.
You did a great job. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
all you do for all of our anglers, as well as for our viewers that are investing in your equipment. We're really grateful for the relationship.
Thank you.
Bree, we got to go to another region. Where are we headed?
Absolutely. Well, the kings of the Northeast region are plentiful, and with a breezy troll, who wouldn't want to be out there looking for him with Captain Tom and Derringer? What's up, Tommy?
What's up, Bree? Yep. Hey, we're right. Perfect timing because we're right in the heart of our kingfish season here in the Northeast region. Things have been a little funky this year with the ocean temperatures and stuff, but kingfish are a major summertime staple for us. When it's hot as Hades outside like it's been, especially this week, really the last month, you can sometimes get a little reprieve from that heat if you're out there trolling for some kingfish along the beach and offshore. But especially we had some recent upwelling, made it feel like you had AC on out there. But the kingfish have been a little hit or miss along the beaches this year because of that upwelling. The bait, namely the pogies, have also been a little sparse. Some days where you would think it'd be easy to net some pogies and just troll the beach, it's been a little tough finding them. But the good news is that it seems like the water is staying warm now. The bait has really shown up really nice here in the last couple of days on the beach. This time of year, as we head into August, we typically get a good push of kingfish on the beach, especially as we get close to the moons. We got a full moon, I think, next week, but it also happens on the new moons. Those bigger kingfish come in shallow to spawn. So if you're fishing the beach, typically being about 30 to 50 feet of water, try to keep your speed as slow as you can go when you're trolling. You can even use your trolling motor. The nearshore and the offshore reefs and wrecks have also been holding some decent numbers of some smaller kingfish right now. Slow trolling, both live and dead baits. You can also pull spoons or lures. All that stuff has been pretty effective out there. And I've got a picture here. My good buddy, Captain Rob Bennett, he sent me this picture of his client, Bobby, and with his daughter with a big old beach kingfish they caught just north of St. Augustine. I bet she was pretty stoked with that thing.
He looks stoked. Look at that smile.
Look at him. He's stoked. Come on, everybody's stoked except the kingfish, of course. He ain't too happy.
Yeah.
He looks a little perturbed.
Wow.
Well, staying offshore, guys, the vermilion snapper bite has been pretty wide open here lately, according to Captain Jimmy Laidler from the Legend. Most of those vermilion snapper have been coming from the reefs out a little deeper in about 120 to 140 feet where the water has been warmer. Typical things like cut baits on a chicken rig, they've been working really well for those vermilions. The beeliners, which is what we call them around here. I think Pat in the Panhandle calls beeliners something else, but we call them beeliners here. They've been thick, so if you're looking to get out there and catch a fish to make some kind of fish sandwich, that's probably a good way to go this weekend. And I've got another picture here. Captain Jimmy Laidler, he sent me this picture of some happy clients with just a couple snappers there.
What's not to be happy about? Holy smokes.
That's a lot of sandwiches right there.
Let's go inshore.
Yeah, man, there's been a great trout bite happening lately throughout the region, especially at night around the dock lights and during the first and last hours of daylight. You can also be a little cooler during that time of day or night. I spoke to my buddy, Captain Buzz Brandon. He tells me he's been running some night trips, and he's targeting docks and bridge lights both along the St. Johns River near Mayport and a little south of there along the ICW towards Palm Valley. Now, Captain Buzz says he's tossing paddle tails or jerk baits on a really light hook. He's tossing that up current of the lights, and he's catching multiple fish on pretty much every light as long as it has some current moving through it. Now, my clients and I have also been on a good trout bite this week. We're tossing that Berkeley Jaywalker 120 top water right as the sun has been coming up in St. Augustine. They've been on fire right as that sun's coming up. We've just been targeting the small runouts along the ICW on that early morning outgoing tide. And man, it's been game on. Now, also inshore, the redfish bite, it's just been so dang good this summer. Man, the redfish bite's been so much fun. This week has been more of the same stuff. Top waters again early on the ICW, like I mentioned before, for the trout. The redfish are there as well. But the sight fishing up shallow has been bonkers, man. The redfish are up super skinny. They're chasing shrimp and mullet. They're busting, backing, tailing, all the really cool stuff that you really want to see out there. You know, the saltwater assassin, elite shiner, it's been my go-to as always, especially the Mama's 14 karat color. I love that thing. But if the fish are being a little picky, or if your sight fishing casting game isn't up to par just yet, the Gulp Dragon Tail has also been catching them as well. You can cast that thing a mile. It flies like a little bullet. Just lead the fish by a few feet. Let that gulp sit in front of them. They usually just pick it up if it's sitting, but if they don't, just give it a tiny little twitch and they're probably going to blast it. And I've got one last picture here. This is my man Holly Smith with the nice redfish that he sight fished with me in St. Augustine using that Gulp Dragon Tail.
Tommy, I gotta say, the 5 o'clock shadow working for me. You look really dapper tonight. I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but I'm really impressed.
I'm offended.
I got a little Tommy envy with all that hair slicked back, but you know what? It's time for the Strike Zone Hotspots, bud.
Tommy.
Thank you so much. All right, bud, inshore. The trout along the ICW shell bars on the early morning outgoing tide toss the Berkeley Jaywalker 120 around the runouts that are holding the bait. And then offshore, the Pavilion snappers in 120 to 140 foot dips.
Man crush much? Hello.
I know, man.
No,
crush.
it's a hair crush.
That's my
what it
dude.
is.
Yeah, man.
All
Look, there's a big difference between
All
his
right.
shine and my shine.
Put it back on.
Ain't no shine.
As we know, summer's fading fast, but the savings are still blazing hot. It's the final days of the Skeeter Blazing Hot Summer Savings Sales Event, and until September 5th, you can save big with up to $5,000 in rebates on select models. Get the Skeeter boat you've been dreaming about across the popular bass, saltwater, and deep V lines. So visit your authorized Skeeter dealer today or go to skeeterboats.com for more details. But Rick,
yes.
Look no further than the bait schools on the shore in the Alta Equipment East region. If kings are what you're after, so Holiday, hello, tell us more. Go ahead, talk about his hair.
First off, I'm older than you.
He
Rick.
got hair
Look
too,
here,
man. Dadgum, boy, dadgum.
I love your hair, Mike. Let's go.
So the August Kingfish run isn't as strong as a May run, but we do get a lot of kings spread throughout the area this month. The majority of fish are on bait schools, everything from red minnows and threadfin schools that are in close to the beach to the blue runner schools that are all over the natural and artificial reefs right now. A lot of the fish are in places on the beach like the Kingfish Hole and the Vero Cove. 14 Buoy has a lot of fish. The Sand Pile off Stewart has fish. And these fish are particularly active early in the morning and then again late in the afternoon. You want to target them with everything from a live threadfin, a pilchard, a sardine, or a blue runner, to a rigged ribbon fish or rigged ballyhoo. The live baits, you put them out on number 4 wire stinger rigs or triple hook Palm Beach rigs. The ballyhoo, you use double hook wire rigs on them. Just make sure you have wire because they got sharp teeth. If you're trolling, you want to make a lot of turns. Slow trolling, same deal. A lot of the bites come right when the fish is in the turn. Average kingfish right now is going to be like 10 to 15 pounds, but we see them up to about 30 pounds or so. I got a photo from Captain Jonathan Earhart of Chaos Fishing Adventures with a big fish they caught on a 6 mile reef, and that fish ate a Spanish sardine. The other thing we got over the last week or so, we got a big influx of sargassum weed, and that's brought a lot of mostly small dolphin into the area. The current's been 3 to 5 knots out deep, so a lot of the fish are pushing out of the current and in closer to shore. And I've had reports of dolphin caught as shallow as 30 feet on out to about 120. That seems to be where a lot of those schoolies, even a lot of the shallow reefs and wreck fishermen are picking up dolphin while they're anchored up and bottom fishing. But if you're looking for larger fish, it seems like those fish are out deep, 300 to 2,000 feet of water. And in some areas, the weed is so thick that it's difficult to troll. So a lot of anglers are just drifting in that strong current, putting out live threadfins or sardines, and waiting for those fish to come by the boat. Average dolphin right now is 5 to 10 pounds. I have a photo from Michael Long. He picked up this nice gaffer dolphin in 450 feet of water, and that fish ate a troll ballyhoo.
All right, let's go inshore, bub.
Yeah, man, the catch and release snook action's been strong in Palm Beach and Jupiter Inlets. And also in the backwaters of the Loxahatchee River, there's also been a lot of snook showing up at night on the Jensen Beach Causeway and South Bridge in Fort Pierce. And then don't overlook the beach bite in places like Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, Bathtub Beach, and both North and South beaches in Fort Pierce. A lot of fish on the beach right now. Early and late in the day in the low light conditions, you want to throw that saltwater assassin 4-inch sea shad, or even a chrome colored spoon will work. And then as the day goes on, it's time to switch to live croakers or sand perch or threadfins or pilchards. The average snook in my region right now is going to be somewhere in that 8 to 18 pound class. And we'll see some really big fish come out of the Loxahatchee River on topwater plugs. I have a photo from Captain Eric Davis. He sent me this shot. A great way to beat the heat right now and to get into the snook. They got out and fished at night on fly off the dock lights.
Nice. All right. What else you got this week, bub?
Well, one of my favorite bites is that thump of a spotted sea trout. And you can get in on some great action right now in the Indian River along Walton Road, Little Mud Creek, Bear Point, Torpy Road, and even on the Moorings Flat. The key is to be on the water in the dark. It's a really early bite. It's over by 8 o'clock most mornings. There's also been a lot of sea trout along the dock lights at night. The west bank of the river has a lot of really good dock lights. So the Indian River has some really, really good dock lights that are holding sea trout right now. Most of the fish are small, running 9 to 15 inches. But when you get into a school, you can catch fish on just about every cast until that school moves on. As always, the saltwater assassin Houdini or new penny-colored shads are money on those fish. Small topwater plugs, live pinfish, are also going to be good options. And I have a photo. Pack Shook, he got into a nice sea trout fight with Captain Ed Zayak. They were in Middle Cove using that saltwater assassin pilchard color shad.
All right, bub. It's been really hot. How's it affected the bass fishing this week?
You know it is. Everything's out in deep water. So water levels are up on Headwaters Lake and Fellsmere, but the bite is still very early in the day. I was talking to Captain Nathan Schoen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He said there's been a great dawn schooling bass bite on the shad schools. They're out in the deeper areas of the lake. You can throw topwater plugs, jerk baits, and soft plastics like an electric shad colored bass assassin forward-facing sonar shad. And then as the wind picks up, you want to move to the scattered cattails and throw a white spinnerbait, a Junebug colored tap-out worm, or a black and blue colored RSB worm. The water is in the upper 80s now, so you have to work those lures really, really slow. Work the worms slow, work the topwater slow, let the worms fall into the grass. Right now, it's a 40 to 50 fish morning on Headwaters. Average bass 1 to 4 pounds, and he's getting them up to 8 pounds every day. So Headwaters is still probably one of the top bass lakes in the country right now.
You know, Mike, each week you got the biggest job with the Bass Report. We're really grateful. You did a great job. Thank you so much. We're going to take a look at the TH Marine hotspots. Mike says inshore, mangrove snappers in Fort Pierce Inlet on the slack tide. Fish close to the rocks with live shrimp, pilchards, or sand perch. And then offshore, the yellowtails, mangroves, mutton snappers, and 80 to 92 feet of water off of Juneau use sardines, cigar minnows, and squids on a chicken rig.
All right, Rick. Well, our friends over at Bajio are partnering with Field and Stream to give you a shot to win shades and so much more all summer long. Whether you're fishing freshwater rivers and lakes, the Atlantic Ocean, Gulf, or Mosquito Lagoon, catch one of 12 select fish and you could win big. Simply register online or use the QR code on your screen, catch a fish, and submit a photo that includes the measurement and a piece of paper with Bajio and Field and Stream written on it. This tournament is free to enter and you can submit fish from all 50 states. The biggest fish in each category will be crowned at the end of the summer. This is the Bajio Summer Sprint. Catch fish, win big, always free to enter, but never easy to win. So,
that's right.
There you have it. All right, coming up, get ready for some spiffy Taco Marine new products with the king of the CCA workbench, Dave Farrell.
I'm thinking about getting in that tournament.
You should.
I think you should.
You should enter that snook you just caught.
I think it's too late.
Oh, right. All right. And then we're breaking out the wire and the trebles in the Black Oak LED Keys region with Captain Ridge Murphy. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Abyss Battery, power your pursuit. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, best lures, period. And Black Oak LED, never be left in the dark.
Well, it's time for the Taco Marine Trolling the Edge segment with new products here at the CCA Workbench. Dave, I
Yes, sir.
couldn't help myself, but I had to put on one of the new products, the Bajios.
Yep, they're very nice. Those are called the Hopedale.
I'm hopeful
Yeah.
that they fit my face perfectly.
Yep, they do, actually. The classic Hopedale shades feature a cool, casual, everyday style for activities beyond angling. They're actually in the surf section of the Bajio. Still have the sun blocking, hidden sun ledge in there, the recessed nose pads, durable barrel hinges, and, radical clarity of the blue blocking lens that makes Bajio famous,
That's it.
Part of the Bajio surf collection, again, they have a large fit, a medium wrap, and it kind of works on most heads. I mean, it works on your head, then I can put them on. Look, they fit me too.
They look better on you than me.
I think so,
Yeah.
but that's rare.
You
Rare
fill
for me.
the frame much better.
I do. They have 4 frame colors, including the yellow glass matte, and 7 lens colors, and you can get them in prescription or the readers as well.
That's
So
right.
go
And
to
where do we go to find them?
BajioSunglasses.com to get your Hopedales.
Damn right. That's where you need to go. Come on,
Next,
guys.
We have the Scientific Anglers. This is the Sonar Titan Pelagic custom sinking line. It's designed for the largest, biggest fish, in saltwater that fly anglers are pursuing. Features a 65-pound tropic core, delivering unparalleled strength and reliability. It's just a really strong line. Loads quickly and delivers large flies to really distant targets. Excellent turnover due to the short, powerful head and a short front taper. And it's specially designed for tropical climates. So
and the
it
other
doesn't
thing
get real
is,
sticky.
you see, Dave, if you look in there, you see how it's black inside there?
Got a fast sink rate.
That's the fast sink core.
Yeah.
So that weight forward section is going to sink like crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to allow you to pull up offshore to a log that may be floating, drop down. It's going to go, the sink rate here is substantial.
Yeah, it's like
So-
six plus.
Yes.
It's got a 500 grain that's 11 to 13 pound weight and a 700 grain that's 13 to 15 pound weight.
Which was perfect for wahoo or anything offshore.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
Yeah, it's big.
Where do we go to find it, Dave?
Scientificanglers.com.
Okay.
Next, we have the Heroes on the Water apparel. This is founded Heroes on the Water was founded in 2007. It's a nonprofit that provides recreational wellness experiences through kayak fishing to U.S. active duty military, veterans, law enforcement officers, first responders, and their families as well.
Right.
You got the classic baseball hat on there. Comes in 5 different colors. The bucket hat comes in.
This is yours.
Yeah, okay, 5 different colors. And it looks better on you. Like the sunglasses look better on me.
But you
the
know what?
bucket hat looks
I
way better.
love this style
Yes,
of
look
hat.
at
You
that.
know why? Because when I was a little kid, I used to watch Gilligan's Island.
I did
He had
too.
a white one like this. So
I did
I'm
too.
perfect with this.
I got you.
All right.
Next, we have the men's performance short sleeve shirt that comes in 5 colors. It's a Nike performance shirt.
Right.
Comes from small all the way to 2XL. And the women's performance zip pullover, also 5 different colors. Comes from extra 2X small to 4XL.
I'd like
for
to
the
see
zip
Bree
up.
in this with the Heroes on the
Yeah,
Water.
Why not?
All right. What else we got, Dave?
Next, we have the Humminbird Explore 10. Look at this big daddy. Full HD display with cross-touch interface, delivers great detail, 128 by 720 display. You can use the touch screen or the keypad, whichever you prefer. Bright sun doesn't bother this thing. You can be out in the bright sun and this thing still glows really bright for you so you can see everything. It's got mega side imaging. It views out to 200 feet on either side, which is 20% more detail and 60% more range.
The best side imaging in the business, I promise.
It is. Mega down imaging plus as well. Unprecedented deep water clarity. Dual spectrum chip sonar. Highly detailed fish arcs, and the internal GPS and Humminbird base map, which includes up to 10,000 lakes and coastal coverage all around the continental United States.
And where do we go to find it?
Humminbird. That's.com.
That's it.
Well, I'm just going to take this because I think that I look better in it. How about that?
now
Summer is the
we're
perfect
talking.
time for some Yamaha Repower finance offers.
Talking.
From now until September 30th, 2025, purchase a new eligible Yamaha outboard to get rates as low as 6.99% APR for 72 months when financed through Yamaha. For purchases made on the Yamaha credit card, get intro rates as low as 2.99% for 36 months and 15.99% to 23.99% APR thereafter. Hi, Rick. Visit YamahaOutboards.com for complete details. And why'd you throw that hat at me?
Guys, you ask me all the time. She looks good in anything.
Well, it's a
There it
bucket
is.
hat. Everyone looks good in a bucket
There
hat.
we go.
Except you two. The Black Oak LED Keys region is always the place to be. So let's cue up Captain Ridge Murphy, who also looks good in a bucket hat. He has all the kingfish catching tips you'll need to take us into August, Ridge.
You know, kingfish are drag streaming torpedo-style fish that make big runs and skyrocket on their prey. They can be caught on both sides of the highway here in the Black Oak LED region, and they make a really good smoked fish dip. If you're going to go out and target kingfish, you're going to want to use Stinger rigs and number 4 to number 8 wire on swivels twisted to 2 treble hooks, and you can use this rig on both spinning rods and conventional tackle. You're going to want to bump troll flat lines or slow troll with planers on the edge, or fish big spreads with kites using baits like cigar minnows, sardines, blue runners, and goggle eyes. Kingfish can be targeted as shallow as 40 feet of water in the sand, spraying on the ballyhoos, all the way out to 200, staging up on some of the deeper wrecks. And the one thing you want to keep in mind when you're targeting kingfish is to have the right size gaff. A small hook gaff is the ideal gaff to make your kingfish shots count. I spoke to Captain Pablo Rodriguez out of Marathon, and he says that the mangrove snapper fishing offshore is off the chain right now. You're going to anchor up or you're going to spot lock and chum. It's very similar to yellowtail fishing, 1 or 2 rods at a time. Light 10 to 15 pound clear mono with small cut baits, chunks of baits like squid, cut pinfish, or small chunks of ballyhoo. You can also use live baits like pilchards or small pinfish, and a 20-pound leader if you want to will get the job done. Small 2-0 Circle C Eagle Claw circle hook. And I have a photo sent in by Captain Pablo Rodriguez with a nice batch of mangrove snappers caught out of Marathon, caught by Sophia and Pablo Jr.
All right, what else you got, bub? Keep going.
We're seeing lots of juvenile tarpon all over the Keys with all the rain that we're getting, and the fish are staging where the water dumps out of the Everglades into Florida Bay. I also spoke to Captain Pablo in Marathon, and he's seeing lots of little tarpons down his way, too. So there's quite a bit of fish around. In the early mornings, you want to fish the shrimp patches. You want to throw the new gulp shrimp, rigged weedless, with 30-pound fluorocarbon leader. And these fish are ranging from 25 inches to 30 pounds, so there's a nice variety of size. A Fenwick medium rod with 7-foot and a 4,000 size Penn spinning reel with 10-pound braided line will work. And once the sun gets up, you can switch from shrimp to the plugs, and you're going to throw plugs like the Cutter 90 and the small slow sink Stavage Twitch Reaper. And for the topwater guys, a Jaywalker, if the grass allows you to, will work also. I spoke to Captain Jake Turk, and he says that between all the weather that we're having, the bone fishing down in Islamorada has been pretty good. You're going to want to pull along the flats with the current, and the bones will be feeding into the current. You're going to want to look for mudders, tailors, and wakers, and keep an eye out for stingrays, because just like the redfish, the bonefish will get on their backs also. Throw live shrimp, rigged weedless on an Eagle Claw J hook with a 20-pound leader and 1 or 2 small split shots to help you throw it. And also, guys, if you ever want to see your fishing pictures up on the show, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Captain Ridge Murphy. I'd love to see what you're catching, and we can put them up on the show for you that week.
All right, bub. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the scientific angler hotspots from the Florida Keys. Ridge says inshore, little tarpon in the tannic water on the gulp shrimp in the morning, and then plug fish for them with the Berkeley hard baits or Savage plugs. And then offshore, the mahis in all depth ranges from 400 to 2,000. Look for the debris and the birds working, but keep in mind that the bigger fish have been caught a little closer to the shore.
Thank goodness. All right, let's dive on in and see what tournaments are going on in the Florida Keys. First, we're honoring the memory of Herman Lucerne, known as Mr. Everglades, while fishing in the Herman Lucerne Memorial Backcountry Championship within the boundaries of Everglades National Park from September 19th through the 21st. Tournament activities are based at the Islander Resort in Islamorada. Next, teams fish around the clock in Key Largo from Friday night, September 26th through Sunday afternoon, September 28th to win coveted trophies for trout, snook, and redfish in the Take Stock in Children Backcountry Tournament. Then ladies gather in Isla Mirada October 17th and learn fishing skills October 18th during the Ladies Let's Go Fishing University, followed by the Fishing Fever Tournament on October 20th. And finally, the Inshore Fishing Association Backcountry Tournament comes to Isla Mirada October 18th for a one-day contest with scores tallied on the e-tournament fishing app for the largest catches of trout, redfish, and snook in team, kayak, and kid divisions. For more information on Keys tournaments, go to flakeys.com. Speaking of tournaments, we have talked about the Key West Marlin tournament for weeks, and we are not able to announce the winners. Taking home first place, congratulations, Team Pipe Dream. Woo!
All
That's
right, way to
awesome.
go,
Second
guys.
place, we've got Sandy one, and third place team is On Course. And in the ladies division, we have the lady angler, Leslie Pruitt from Miss Penny. How awesome. Congratulations. What a fun tournament to be a part of. We hope you all had the best time in Key West.
The top 3 boats caught marlin and 1 caught 2.
What? In a
Blue marlins, baby.
Thank goodness, because Key West Marlin tournament. Whew.
Yes.
Thank goodness we got
There you
blue
go.
ones. All right, look alive, North Florida. We're casting to the Panhandle region with some king, mangrove, tarpon, and redfish to report on when we come back, and then casting and catching in the Northwest region with Captain Jeff Hageman. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Startron. Start, run, and store with Startron. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, conserving Florida's fisheries since 1985. Frontrunner Boatworks, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. The Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Welcome back. Where there's baits, there's a kingfish bite, and the best is yet to come in the Panhandle region with Captain Pat Deneen. So go for it, Pat.
Hey, Bree, I tell you, there's a lot going on in the Panhandle, and I tell you, the kingfish have been good this summer. They're cyclical. Some years are often much better than others, but this has been a good season. Typically, we catch king mackerel, from May through November. Biggest ones are usually in the fall, October, November time period. But this past week, there have been some really nice smokers caught. Hearing and seeing lots of pics and reports of 30 and 40 pound kings being caught both from boats and Gulfside piers. The standard practice is going to be slow trolling live baits on a stinger rig, oftentimes using a downrigger or a trolling lead to get some baits mid-water, so cover the water column. At midday, those deeper baits often outperform the top baits, 2-1. Herrings and cigar minnows are your best baits for the kingfishing, but if you really want to target specifically bigger kingfish, go with the blue runners, bluefish or mullet, basically the bigger bait, bigger bite, thought process. They're being caught Gulfside really anywhere that's holding bait. The natural structure like the Broken Bottom, southeast of Destin, Rogers Ridge off to the west have been good, but also the bigger wrecks and concrete reefs, are good. Really anywhere that's holding the cigar minnows and herrings is going to be attracting the king mackerel. There's a photo of Seth Williams from Santa Rosa Beach with a big smoker king caught this past week kayak fishing off the South Wall, slow trolling a live bait on some of that shallow natural bottom areas. So
Nice.
the kingfishing has been good, but also what's been good offshore is the mangrove snappers. They've been big and strong, really nice ones. They're catching them on natural bottom and artificial structures, 65 to 100 foot of water. They're fishing live baits on light leaders and weights, or really no weight at all, especially if you want to do some chumming. If you chum with chunks, it's going to help your bite out. You bring those mangroves up off the bottom and just free line, hook bait in the chum and with a light leader. And then also some of the best fish is coming from night. It's been real calm this past week. Very little moon, and you get out there on top of that same structure that you're fishing at the daytime. Those mangroves come up higher in the water column. They're a lot less wary, a lot more aggressive. And there's some fish up to and over 6 pounds being caught. There's another kayak photo of mangrove snapper. It was caught this past week off the shallow bottom areas off the South Walton. Free line and live baits over the bottom structure.
That's a nice mang, bub.
The yakers are taking over.
Yeah, that's a nice one for a paddle boat. Moving inshore, the tarpon fishing is slowing down a bit along most of the coast, Rick, but it's heating up big time in Apalachicola. All those a lot of the migrating fish have moved on. But there's plenty of tarpon that are set up resident in Apalachicola Bay and the surrounding waters. But they're over there feeding on the abundant pogie schools that you're going to find along Indian Pass, at West Pass, and along the Gulf side beaches of St. Vincent Island. And anglers are getting them on dead menhadens, using 100-pound leaders and 10 to 11-aught circle hooks, basically just casting a dead chin hook in a pogie, casting it out around the big bait schools or where you see them fish rolling, and slowly retrieving it, getting basically a spinning bait. It works real well, but if you want to go with lures, go with a slowly retrieved swim bait or a diving plug. The tarpon are some good ones being caught, well over 130 pounds. And then finally, the redfish have been good. They're being caught pretty much in all the inlets on the incoming tide and on the beginning of the falling tide, using small live herrings or on Carolina rigs. There's a lot of schools of small herrings and decent pilchards just inside the inlets. You can get them with a cast net. We've been fishing the beach, and Rick, you know how much fun that can be, but we've had an absolute ball sight fishing the beaches. The redfish are really shallow right now. They're right up in the wash zone, crazy close to the dry sand. So close, oftentimes we're casting the bait onto the dry beach and then dragging it down through the wet zone into where the fish are biting, so that they'll see it. Because if you cast short, they're so focused on that sand. There's a photo there of Weston from Perdido Key. I think he got a photo earlier this season. But it was a nice redfish he caught in the pass on Orange Beach. So the weather's been great. The fishing's awesome. It's just been hot, guys.
All right, and so are you, Pat. You're awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to take a look at the heroes on the water hotspots from the Panhandle region. Pat Tar says inshore, tarpon and triple tail combo in Apalachicola, fish dead pogies for tarpon, but be ready for that triple tail encounter. And then offshore, get on the light tackle billfish action at the nipple, the 131 hole in the knuckle triangle by trolling a spread of teasers and small ballyhoo.
I thought you were saying he's hot. I was like, he is hot. You just have man crushes all over tonight. All right, there are many different ways to target your king catch in the Northwest region. So let's break out the spoons and the live bait with Captain Jeff Hag. Talk to us, Hag. Sorry, I don't know why I went southern there. Go ahead.
Kingfish are plentiful in my region. Most of the time in the spring and the fall, when the migration goes through in our region, that water temp needs to be that 68 to 74 degrees to have them. Fast trolling, lit plugs, king spoons are really effective. Slow trolling, live baits can be really effective too, like thread fins, sardines, blue runner, Spanish sardines are all great baits. Or just anchoring up on some hard bottom and free lining baits back over artificial reefs and wrecks is a great way to do it. Chum bag is never a bad idea. Get that smell in the water. As far as locating kingfish, find the bait and you'll find the fish. Rock piles, reefs, and wrecks, like I said, and hard bottom will hold them during the migration. Staying offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete reports good red grouper bite right now. It's been in 150 to 200 feet of waters where he's been fishing lately. Ledges, rock piles, and flat rock, threadfin herring, or sardines tipped with squids working well. You can get some live bait. The red grouper is always a go-to bait for Captain Rob. 80 to 100-pound fluorocarbon leader, 6 to 8-aught trocar circle hook, and 6 to 10 ounces of lead, depending on the depth you're fishing and the current you've got. Got a photo right now from Captain Rob of a couple nice red grouper.
Nice.
Recently.
All right. Tell me about Jamie.
Moving on inshore, Captain Jamie Goodwin of GoFloridaFishing.com. Lower Tampa Bay snook bite's been really good. Outgoing tide, live pinfish and sardines, fishing the points and passes have been producing a lot of those post-spawn fish right now. Moving up the bay a little bit, Captain Jason Lineberger of Ruthless Fishing Charters out of Tampa Bay reports a good snook bite up in the bay right now. Live sardines, either free line or cork, has been his bait of choice. Beginning and outgoing tide has been his best bite. Moving around and up the coast, Captain Jimmy Huddleston reports good snook bite right now. Most of the fish have been consistently on the Gulf Coast on the outside edges of the passes, staging up in the major passes and along the swash channels of those passes. Best on the outgoing tide, big pinfish, pegged with a 2-ounce lead. Gets that bait down there. 40-pound leader is a must. A lot of the fish out there right now are 35 to 40 inches, and they're being consistently caught. Beginning of the incoming tide and that outgoing tide as the best bet. big snook are sight fished along that swash channel, along those passes with the sardine. And I got a photo here from Captain Hutt with a nice clear water snook.
Beautiful. All right, one to go, bud.
Redfish bite's been good in lower Tampa Bay, been consistent on the incoming tide. Live and cut bait have both been effective. Look for fishing potholes adjacent to drop-offs on the flats. Mullet has been the key to finding most of the fish, so look for those mullet and you'll find those redfish. And I got a photo of a redfish we caught just yesterday.
All right, man. Well, you did good. Thank you so much. We're going to go take a look at the Discover Crystal River hotspots from the Northwest region. He says inshore, snook on the beaches and the passes use sardines and pinfish fished on the outgoing tide. And then offshore, red snappers on the high relief structure in 120 to 240 feet of water using sardines and squids for bait.
I was going to ask him what the scallop report was, because we're going there next week.
Okay.
So
well,
he's
you
off
can ask
the line
him
now.
next
So
week.
I'll text him on the way home. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. If you're cruising around Florida, do it with a cause and rock the Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate. Your $25 goes straight to supporting clean water, restoring habitats, protecting marine life, and teaching folks about our coastal environment. Get yours at your local DMV or online at redfishtag.com and join our Redfish Tag family.
These women around here be snoozing.
Snoozing?
Yeah, man.
What are you talking about? I'm alive. I'm here. I'm ready. And you know what else is ready? We are. We're getting ready to reel. We're teeing up Captain Ronnie Houston to see what the Phillips Southwest region has in store for us. But before we go, come and be a part of our live studio audience. You'll get to see what goes on behind the scenes. Plus, there's lots of giveaways. And we have one more left in the season. So go to our website and sign up. And it's free. We'll see you soon.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Fenwick, feel everything. Phillips and Jordan, building critical infrastructure that matters. Castaway Coffee, one taste and you'll be hooked. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome, and Taco Marine, master the catch.
Getting your boat on the water requires your full attention, and having a family with you is no easy task. That's why Power Pole is like having an extra set of hands, making a day on the water the best it could be with less stress and more time for fun with friends and family. Family fun made easy because of Power Pole, and that's your Power Pole tip of the week.
What do you think, my girl? Backing it down.
Gotta back it up.
Yep.
Back it
And then
up.
putting them down.
And then put them down. Back it up, put it down.
Two
That was
pumps or
so
one?
fun. I'm gonna be there next week. We just talked about it.
I know.
So you'll see me just do
You're
it all over
going,
again.
you're cheating on me, you're going without me.
In my matching suits with my husband, my matching kids in their suits. Oh my
In
gosh.
the matching neighbor?
I know.
Whoa.
No, Sarah's not coming this year. So sorry, but I'll have other neighbors coming. So we'll
Please.
see.
Lots of pictures, Mama.
It'll be fun. Lots
Thank
of
you so
family
much.
fun to be had. All right, the Phillips Southwest region has so much to offer this weekend, including permit and cobia. So let's see what else we're reeling in and when to expect that king bite with Captain Ronnie Houston. What's up, Ronnie?
Well, like always, it's a pleasure being here. You know, in the Phillips and Jordan Southwest region, to give you a little bit of info on how to get started on trying to find the kingfish. Generally, you know, they migrate along the South Florida coast with peak times. Your peak times are going to be spring through fall. Now, springtime, the kingfish move from the Keys, passing through the region from south to north. But, you know, it gets to a certain point once it comes into fall, they're going to migrate back to the south. They're going to concentrate on following the bait schools and actually trying to find the warmer water as fall gets into late fall towards winter. Now, you can find them near the bottom. You can concentrate looking for them on wrecks, artificial reefs, or any type of structure where bait fish congregate. It's important to keep an eye on your bottom finder because kingfish prefer water temperatures in the 68 to 78 degree range for numbers. Now, live baits like pilchards, herrings, sardines, and blue runners will catch them. Large lip plugs, but also trolling and drifting using planers and spoons are very popular methods. And out of all these methods you're using, if you get into them or if you're fishing for some of these bigger fish on your wrecks, stinger hooks and wire is suggested. And I got a picture this week of a nice kingfish caught, practicing that method with Captain Davis Olson.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell me about the snappers, Bubba.
Still offshore. You know, the red snapper, with fair to moderate weather like we've been having, making the long run all through the region in depths of 180 feet and beyond. Now, most importantly, watching the bottom finder for bait fish and fish off the bottom. And that's for anybody who's trying to figure this out and anybody to learn. I know a lot of guys have spots marked. They run to those spots. Start hitting some of that stuff in between and you'll be surprised. Reports are working this pattern seems to be best. Reports of anglers catching fish in new areas, especially in between the areas like I mentioned that they have marked previously. Now, better bites have been coming on that lighter fluorocarbon, but you better be ready for the bite or they're going to take you into the structure. So 40 to 60 is recommended, depending upon what type of current we're having this week, 6 to 10 ounces of weight. And you can use a variety of bait, live and cut baits like pinfish, cigar minnows, cut herring. Always have your cut baits with you, squid, sardines, but also, you know, guys are catching these fish on bucktails and slow pitch jigs right now. And I've got a picture here in the last week of Captain Bo Johnson running out, catching a variety of red snappers and some tunas as a bonus fish.
All right,
Shore.
let's go ashore.
The snook. You know, Captain Danny Latham to the north reports fish are still in and around the passes and beaches as well as the intercoastal docks and seawalls at night. Good moving water in either way is going to be the key to trigger a good bite. Now, he's telling me live sardines and pinfish have been working well, but what I like about Danny is he's versatile. He likes a variety of artificials. He's telling me he's catching these fish on the Berkeley Paddling Power Stinger. Particular color is going to be Sight Flash. Or he's also catching them on the Berkeley Stick Shad, filtered in color. But you can also use live shrimp around the docks and seawalls at night. I got a picture of a nice snook release with Danny recently in the last 2 weeks. Last species is going to be the tarpons. Now, if the weather cooperates like it's been, fish the outside beaches and passes right now from Fort Myers Beach to Sanibel. Look, there's still plenty of opportunity. Might not be the big numbers, but there's still plenty of opportunity if you're looking to catch a good tarpon. Now, a lot of fish right now, according to Danny, have moved up into the Upper Harbor and Pine Island South. Live crabs are baits of choice. Threadfins and pinfish also have been working well. But like I say with Danny and the artificials, the Berkeley coal shad in dark night and cold broom, or swim bait similar to what Danny's throwing. Now, with all the rains we've been having, you get out early in the morning, look for juvenile tarpon along the east wall and west wall for these fish, or late afternoon after a storm, or just a couple hours before dark as the boat traffic dies down on the inside of the east and west wall. Going to be plenty of opportunity to catch juvenile tarpon. I've got a picture this week of a nice tarpon release out off the beaches while fishing with Danny Latham. Weather's looking good. Rain chances are down. It's getting hot. Get out early. Go out and catch you some fish.
All right, Ronnie, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Phillips and Jordan Southwest region. He says inshore, redfish, Coon Key to Kingston Key, outer Gulf Island along the mangrove shorelines at the higher tides using live pilchards, pinfish, and cut baits. And then offshore, the Cobia and Permit, the wrecks, towers, artificial reefs using live crabs, pinfish, herring, bucktails, and swim baits.
The Southwest region is on fire, but you know what, Rick? We've covered the King Max status across the entire state, and the reports are smoking hot. So now that you have the tactics for a checkmate, but you know what? Stay with us so we can tell you what we're catching next week. I'm not telling you yet. You have to stay hooked to find out. Yeah. We'll be back. Next week, we're talking
Deep dropping.
We're deep dropping. We're going deep dropping.
No.
Yeah.
Way on.
Way down.
Way down south.
Way down there. Yep. It's
Okay.
gonna be good. Everything deep drop. Make
2,000
sure
feet.
you tune in. What's
Caesar
that?
Social.
Yeah, well, I was getting
on.
there. We was just having a
ready.
little chitty chat. All right, before you hit the water, let's dive into the Caesar Social this week and have our very
I
own.
always like this. This is fun.
Yeah, but this is you.
No.
So you're going to like it even
Not
more.
me.
It's a father-son duo,
No.
shenanigans, reel it.
Uh-oh. I didn't know this.
Okay, let's see. Good.
Uh-oh. Here's a real one.
Yeah, is.
Sometimes when the time is right, like tangled lines, a little family fun ensues.
Oh, Reg.
That's a nice one.
Getting them? Come on, get a little bit on. Get a little bit on.
Always cranking.
Come on, Pop.
How did you not? You didn't know. You swear you didn't know.
I wasn't looking. I actually thought I had somebody on, and he hooked my line.
I got him. He getting you. He getting me. I think he's getting you.
He got you.
You are a shipwreck.
Oh,
he got off.
got off. Oh, that's
I
so
thought
good.
I
That
did
makes me
not
so
know
happy.
this. I really did not know this until I was checking the editing.
No way.
I swear. And Jeff pulled it on me, my producer that edits Sports with Richard. He said, "Oh, I got to show you this." I was like,
Did
"Oh
you
my
lose
God."
that?
But did you see how crazy that's gone on Facebook?
We
There's
used to
over
do that with a bucket.
600,000 likes on Facebook.
Well,
how
it's-
crazy. It's going to go viral.
It's on its
already
way.
gone.
It's on its way. All right, remember, if you saw a reel you'd like to share.
head around like
and be featured on Seize the Social, just scan the QR code or drop them in our DMs.
Keep my head straight.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's okay. We all
It's all right.
we all get one of those.
It ain't easy getting old, Bree.
I've been pranked before.
I'm pushing 50 now.
Pushing 50.
Yeah.
Really?
Hey, you boys had me
All
on.
right,
You
well.
guys, we went sword fishing one time, and
Sword.
they told me oh, you're hooked up, and I knew I was on the bottom. Oh, you're hooked up. They're trying to put the harness on me. I'm on the bottom. I know the bottom when I
Hold
feel
on
the
the
bottom.
string.
No, you got a swordfish on. It was the bottom.
It was the bottom. You were right.
It was. Oh, I knew I
Dave
was
Farrell
right.
is always right.
always-
Exactly.
I can tell I've never seen a bottom in a swordfish.
I would hope so, Workbench Guru. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Get out there on the water, stay safe, stay cool, and we'll see you next week. Deep drop.
Yeah.